Hi, it's Gitanjali here from High Definition You, and today I am very, very pleased to be bringing you the client success story, which has filled me with so much joy, of Fran Creamer. Hi, Fran. Thank you for your story. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are in the world, personally and professionally?
Yeah, sure. So professionally, I work for a design agency, and I have kind of worked there for the last 10 years and worked my way up. So I'm now in a sort of a director position, which I achieved last year. So I'm leading a team of 5 and growing. So yeah, we're a design agency that specializes in the sort of real estate sector. So I'm really kind of in charge of client accounts and then also managing projects and overseeing the team and what we kind of churn out on a weekly, monthly basis.
And it's growing, as you say. So take us back to before we started our coaching program together, Fran, and tell me a little bit more about what you were struggling with at the time. What did you feel like you needed help with?
So I think, pre our sessions, I definitely kind of undergone, and I think a lot of, having shared this with the group and had so much reassuring feedback on this, I kind of went through a crisis of confidence when I was given my directorship and had imposter syndrome at its highest level, which I'd really been trying to figure out on my own and not too much sort of success. I think pre our session, I was starting to build some blocks, but really wasn't able to navigate my way through and develop my own leadership skills on my own. I think what I was really doing was overthinking, second guessing. I was kind of thinking I knew what the right thing was, but then also constantly questioning myself and feeling like I needed to look to other people for validation on how I was being a leader, how I was sort of managing my team and stuff. So I was in a bit of a spot of a real crisis of confidence and needing someone to just help me align a lot of those thoughts that I was having and break through a lot of the kind of second guessing, overthinking and anxiety I was having around my leadership style, essentially.
Yeah, there was a lot going on for you. And I know when we talked about, making the investment to start the program with me, there was some thinking around that as well. Can you share any resistance that came up, or maybe anything that stopped you from saying yes straight away?
Oh, 100%. So I was, I think when you messaged me, I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. Like, I really want to do this. So I was immediately off the bat really excited. Obviously it was COVID period and things were very uncertain for our business anyway. And I quite quickly realized I wasn't going to get the sort of coverage for this by my company. I wasn't going to get this sponsored. And so I remember my husband just going to me when I realized that, going to me one night, well, forget that. Do you feel like you want this? Do you want to do this? When you think about doing or this, this course and joining Geeta on this journey, like, what does it do? And I was like, it makes me really excited. I get the butterflies, like, I want to do it. So I decided to invest in it myself. And it was, just haven't looked back, really.
Well, I'm so thrilled that you said yes. And tell me a little bit about what's changed for you. What are the results that you've seen, maybe on a leadership level, but for yourself as well, through our work together?
Oh, gosh. Quite a few things. And it was really interesting thinking about when I kind of noticed it happening. But I think a really good measure of knowing when it started happening was I'd actually made a couple of hires literally on the dawn of starting the sort of course with you and the rest of the guys. And so I was really able to just kind of track it through that. But I think the key things that have changed for me are confidence in terms of really identifying who I am as not just a leader, but also, what is my brand as a person? Who am I? What kind of personality do I have? What way do I want to lead my team? And what personality traits do I emanate, essentially? And how that might be for others. So I think I've definitely just moving from a kind of subconscious level into very being conscious in the present. So I'm very much more aware of who I am, how I come across, maybe the way in which I say things, and being very sensitive around that. So I think this whole self-awareness and really honing my personal brand has been a huge change for me. I had no real, potentially not some awareness, but no real thought and understanding for how I come across to other people and how that might impact how they react to me or how they respond to me. So that was one big thing. I think the second thing is battling anxiety and fear. That was a huge step. I think destigmatizing and also breaking down what fear and anxiety is, and understanding, I always thought that fear and anxiety wasn't my responsibility. It was something that happened to me instead of being something that I created, and that I allowed to kind of happen around certain topics. So as soon as I learned that the power was in my hands, and those lines of no, don't bat that off. Don't make it as if you're being, the world's against you and you're being affected by things. Anxiety is, your creature and your creature alone that you can learn to understand and not be afraid of. Acknowledge it. Okay, this is making me feel really nervous. I'm starting to get the sweaty palms. Oh my God, I'm getting really stressed. Okay, just stop and breathe, and then just break it down and take the fear out of it. So that has been, I will take that with me forever, not just in work, throughout life. It's going to be a useful tool. So those are definitely the two major things. And I think what that has kind of led to is just more confidence and more control. I think when you take out the anxiety and the fear, this control element and actually feeling like, okay, I got this, it feels attainable and feels achievable.
And what has it done for your team then, if you're coming to it from that new place of confidence and understanding and self-awareness? What do you think has been the result for your team? What have you seen differently there?
So I've had a couple of reviews with a couple of members of my team, actually, and on their performance, but also on mine, saying, what else could I be doing to, and I had some really interesting feedback. I think what's changed is I've stopped the verbal diarrhea. So I've stopped calling them up and going, which was coming from a complete point of no control, right? I would call up and go, oh my God, so, okay, today, and I just went, did you get back to me on that? And I don't know, I need to check my email. And, we did a lot of work around like statements, facts, graffiti and stuff like that. And all the kind of, the crap I was putting into my communication with them. And they have said they've noticed a marked difference in that. That it's clearer, it's concise, it's considered. It's not a brief by verbal attack. So I think communication has totally changed in that respect. I think I also have managed to develop a relationship with a colleague of mine that, I don't necessarily think we saw eye to eye before, because we're very different in personality. But I've developed a confidence to just say it how it is and to let it hang there and to put something out there and see how someone responds to it and fill in the gaps. I think I constantly used to, because I was anxious about our relationship, I would overcompensate and fill in, oh my God, there's an awkward silence here. So anyway, if you don't want to do it, don't worry. Don't worry. I'll do it. You know what? I'll do it. So I used to have conversations with myself, and that person was like, what is she doing? You know what I mean? Is she asking me to do something, or is she taking it back? So I had anxiety around my communication, which I don't anymore, because I don't mind the awkward silence, and I don't mind going, we can discuss this if you're not happy with it, but what about this?
I love that. And
then leaving it there.
Yeah. That power of the silence, absolutely. And let that other brain just process it, and having that detachment from it and just saying, I've put it there, and it's been, as you say, concise, considered. And then letting them process it. profound change. So
Yeah.
you were saying that you were trying to figure out when you noticed it happening. Can you take me to that moment when you knew that the coaching was working?
I think there were a couple of moments where, and we kind of discussed this in our group sessions, where we felt that we were like, oh, everything's going really good, and then you hit a dip and you're like, oh, it's all gone to crap, and maybe this isn't working, and I haven't got my head around it. There was a moment where I had a conversation and I came away from that conversation, and although I felt like I'd let myself down because I had entered into the bitching, moaning, whinging, and I'd invested 20, 30 minutes of my time parroting and also taking part in some serious BMW action. I came off the call and went, and because the thing is doing it was so natural to me before, and I came off the call and went, hang on, something doesn't feel... Why did I do that? And I wrote down all the things that could have been potential actions but weren't, because we just moaned about it. And I realized then that something in here had just changed. It wasn't, I said this to you earlier, but I spent the first few weeks of our sessions being like, the keen student at the front being like, right, I'm going to write all my notes, and like every day I'm just going to refresh my mind and be like, BPO, BMW, I'm just going to look at all the acronyms, and I'm going to be like, right, I'm just going to apply these to my day to day. And I think that moment, like that call, for example, was one moment where I realized that it wasn't about being stupid. It was about like actually changing my brain and it being part of me, just noticing it.
So huge when you really notice it. It's like that glaringly obvious. It's like, how did I never see this before? And then you can move forward from there, right? That's the thing.
Yeah.
And you've talked about the group coaching element of it a little bit already. What really surprised you or delighted you about that process?
Well, first of all, just such an interesting mix of people. It's funny, isn't it? Like I always, and I'm sure for other people, I know we spoke about this in the group, but I was like, well, what are we going to have in common with all these people? And then they're going to be much more senior than me. And you kind of have these reservations. And the revelation was that no matter what walk of life we were from, no matter what our, struggles were, or potentially our kind of BPOs were, or our objectives for this journey, we all just had so much in common, like so much in common. And I think, I know that this has been mentioned before, but to feel like you're not alone is a really powerful thing. To feel like also just how quickly we were able to just break, like just not be afraid to share. That was amazing. And just to feel really supported and watch all these strong, incredible people have their journeys. I loved the sessions. I used to watch them back sometimes, just even if I'd been on the session, I used to watch them back because I really I'd be like, what did Minnie say about that thing again? Oh, I'm going to go and have a look. And other people's stories are amazing. They're like incredible. And you can go, God, if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, there was that lovely sense of community and inspiration from other people and contributing, because I saw you contribute so much to the growth of other people as well, Fran, which was beautiful. So you've talked a lot about the results that you've seen, personally, and rewiring your brain and what that's been for you as a leader and what that's meant for you as a team. What do you think it was about the way that I worked with you that enabled you to get those results?
I think, well, one thing really, really springs to mind, and I've obviously known you for a few years, so, and I've always had you've always had such an incredible impact on me every time that we meet, every time that we've had sessions in the past. But I think particularly in this scenario, there was one moment in one of the sessions we had, and it was a Q&A session. And I look back at it now and I kind of cringe, but it's also quite funny. But I think it got around to a question of mine. And instead of being sat and being like, right, I'm ready to listen and I'm ready to take this on, I was kind of like I was sat there, I was twiddling my hair, and I was like, I was really concentrating, but I wasn't at all aware of how that came across. And it almost looked like, I don't know, someone who's like, at school relaxed kind of, and and I could notice that you were like, right, Fran, come on, sit up, stop twiddling your hair. I want you to listen to this. This is the point I'm going to make. And that frankness and that honesty, I came off the call afterwards and I was like, why was I sat like that? Why, God, like those post moments with myself where I'm like, God, yeah, thank God she gave me a kick up the arse to just be like, Fran, switch your brain on, stop. You are a leader. You are, you're this, you're that. You're constantly telling me that, like, and picking me up on stuff. I didn't need someone to mollycoddle me, I don't think. I needed someone to be like, right, sit up straight and listen. That's what you did.
I remember that session. I remember that moment. Well, it's been so wonderful watching your growth and your transformation. And if someone's watching this, Fran, and they're being really inspired by your story, what would you say to them if they're considering investing in coaching for themselves?
If they're considering it, I would say, do it. I think it's really, I know that you would take them through this process anyway, but it is really good to sort of put down the reasons why first, and also do all of the exercises that you did with us on, some adjectives around how you feel and things like that, because I can tell you when you look back, it is amazing. I was saying to you earlier that I look back at some of the documents from the beginning of the process, and as soon as I saw the words, I remembered how I felt in that moment when I wrote it. It is a transformation. And what I would say, don't just consider this as something for work. It isn't work. It is a wholesale neurological, emotional journey, but it's life skills, basically. It is just life skills. It's not about, I'm going to get a business coach and I'm going to, be really successful. It's just about, it's life skills. It's being successful at being alive and being a functioning, brilliant human being. That's what it is.
Which you are, more than functioning.
Oh, thanks.
On the brilliant side, and it's been my privilege to work with you over the last few months, and I look forward to seeing your further transformation in terms of really taking it to the next level now that your team is growing and things are just accelerating. It's a beautiful thing to watch. So thank you so much for sharing your story with me today, and I look forward.
No worries at all.
Thanks, Fran.